Hello there, gorgeous. I'm so glad you decided to join me for part 2 of the sugar skull design. Today I'm going to work on color blends and very simple canes. Most likely like Skinner blend bullseye canes, just maybe some regular bullseye canes and some color blends, things like that. This is a good time to raid your old color blends. Now when I make color blends and I don't use it all, I wrap them up, deli paper, keep them. That's where these came from. They were leftover color blends. I'm gonna use this one. This one I'm not so sure about. Maybe this one. These brown and beige ones I don't need, because for sugar skulls, I would definitely want this one. They need to be brightly colored, or at least, you know, in my opinion. Might use that one. But I'm going to show you what to do with the old color blends and how to get them ready to go. This is, look, it's really dry and crumbly. And I also am going to change this to a different orientation so that I can make a bullseye out of it. Alright, first thing I'm going to do is just kind of fold this over. Probably help if I was in the center. Try to press the air out as I go. Any crumbs that fall off, just try to put them back where they go in the color order. One thing I'm doing today different is I'm filming a bit different. I don't know about y'all, but the autofocus, it gets on my nerves when it's like jumping in and out of focus, and it makes it look like the video is jumping. That gets on my nerves. So I'm trying to film with the autofocus off, which means I've got to keep everything down here and not, you know, bring it up here. So see how that works out. See if you can tell a difference in the video, and if you like it better, or if I just need to leave it on auto. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this pressed together, get the clay moving just a little bit to where it's just warm enough and malleable enough that I can do something with it, because right now just can't really do anything with it because it's going to fall apart. It's getting there though. It's not taking too long. I'm trying to think how old this color blend is. I want to say probably at least a year. Probably been sitting there for a year. That's just a guess off the top of my head. Okay, I think it's condensed enough that I can start rolling it now. I'm gonna make this smaller, but for now I just want to roll it, get it moving now, because I don't want this to get too out of hand. And scrunch it back down a little bit. Another way you can do this to make this shorter is as you're rolling. You know, most of the time if you're rolling something, you're bringing your hands apart. If you want to make it smaller, you do the opposite and you bring your hands together. And that will bring your log shorter. I still don't think this is moving quite enough for what I want. So I'm going to work this for another minute or two and get it ready to go. I think I've got this warm enough and worked enough to where it's soft enough to work with. I'm going to get an acrylic block, and I'm going to change this from a round to a square. Just press and rotate rotate and press. Try to press evenly. So I'm gonna flip it from side to side, because usually gonna press harder in one direction than the other. Got some little schmutz on there, but I'll worry about that later. Alright, so that's a pretty good square now. And what I'm going to do is, I need to get my blade. I'm gonna take a slice off of this, because I want to make a bullseye cane out of this, or blended bullseye, but I also want part of the blend just like this. So I'm gonna cut about that much off of it, and then I will run this through the pasta machine this direction and stretch that out. Now for this, no, I don't need, I was gonna say I want to put that back in a round, but no, I don't need to. What I need to do first, I'm gonna get this little piece right here off, because that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna take my roller, flatten this out a little bit, but instead of this, I said I was going to flatten in this direction, which I actually need to flatten it a little bit before it goes through my pasta machine. So I'm going to flatten this in this direction. Now this clay is still kind of cracking a little bit, so when I run it through the machine, I may yeah, see, that's not, I'm going to have to condition this. So I'm going to run it through a couple of times, or, you know, possibly just by hand, depending on how much conditioning it needs. Probably a little more than I want to do by hand. So I'm going to get this conditioned, and then I will flatten it out. Like I said, I'm just going to fold it and run it through, fold it and run it through, as if I was making the blend. And I'm going to keep it controlled, because I don't want it to get wider and wider. And I'm going to do the same for this one. I'm going to start out doing the same just to get this conditioned, which I probably should have done before, you know, rolling it up. But that's okay, doesn't matter, I can do it now. Alright, so I'm going to get both of these conditioned, and then we'll go from there. Okay, this is conditioned now, and I'll let this one get a little bit wider this way. I didn't control it the whole time, and that is fine, because that will work to my advantage in the next step. Now this is the smaller piece. I did keep this controlled because I didn't want it too wide, because I'm going to use this as is. This one I'm going to make a Skinner Blend Bullseye. Now all of these canes I'm making very, very small, because I don't need big pieces of them, right? For what I'm going to do, they need to be small. So I'm going to fold this. Fold it up that way. Take this down just a little bit with my roller. And this time I'm going to run it through the pasta machine again on progressively smaller settings. Get the hair out of it, and till I get a long strip. So let's do that right quick. I'm going to start with a 0. Go down to a 2. Then a 4, 5, Now that is as thin as I'm gonna go. My pasta machine honestly doesn't like to go much thinner than that. I really wish I had left this wider so that I could cut it in half, which I may do anyway. That way I can make 2 different bullseyes. Bullseyes? Can make 2 different bullseye canes. How about that? Okay, so now what I can do, now these are kind of messy, they're not perfect, really doesn't matter. I'm gonna start this one on the light end, get where you can actually see what I'm doing, and then just roll it very tightly, like as tight as I can possibly get it. Get that tightened up a little bit more. Alright, and then just gonna start rolling. There's a little pink schmutz in there, but it doesn't matter. Trying to keep enough pressure, not putting too much pressure because I don't want to distort it too much, but trying to keep enough pressure that I don't get air trapped. Now all I need to do is fix this up a little bit. Start at the center, work out. See, oh no, can't do that. See all the air pockets in there? That's what I'm trying to do, is get rid of those. Start in the center, work my way this direction, and then once I get those air pockets out, then I can press down here on the top and the bottom. Now at this point it doesn't really matter the size or the length, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter the size of it at this moment. I just want to get the cane made, and now we have a Skinner blend bullseye. I'm gonna do this one in the opposite. This one I started with the light pink, wound up with the dark on the outside. So this one will be the dark on the inside. Just getting it started here. I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the last one. I have some more blends that I had just laying around, but now these are in the wrong orientation. I want to turn them into this. I think what I'm gonna do, again, I want to keep some of them just a small blended sheet like that. So I think I'm gonna turn this into a square. Now these are a little bit newer than that one. These have only been sitting around for a month or two, not a year. So these won't need as much conditioning. I think just doing what I need to do, like stretching them out. Now this one is going to need to be blended a little bit more. I don't know how that happened. Oh, I think I cut part of it off and then attached it back together. Either way, we'll have to run this through and blend it. I think what I'm going to do is cut a small piece off like I did before. This will be my sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this in half, and I will use half for the dark on the inside on my cane and half for the light on the inside. So I'm going to do that with all of these. I've got a got this many of these already done, so I'm going to do the same with all of those. Okay, I pulled out all of these colors. I picked out some bright colors that I wanted to use. This is a good time to use scrap colors if you have them. These are all straight out of the package, but if you have some bright, pretty scrap colors that you would like to use, now is a good time. Is that the same? Yeah, that's the same color. Okay, I am gonna take these colors. Like I said, you need, in my opinion, really bright colors for this project. You know, I like bright colors anyway. I'm gonna figure out what combination of these that I want and what blends that I want to make with these. I'm gonna do the same that I did with these and some of them, and then with others I'm gonna show you a couple of different canes that we can make for this project. But let me figure out what color combinations I want first. Okay, I'm gonna start out with orange and sunshine. I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is sunshine and this is Primo orange. And start out with these two colors, and I'm just gonna make a log and make me two logs about the same size. Doesn't have to be, you know, exact or perfect. Just gonna make two about the same length and the same what's the word, diameter. Okay, try not to trap bubbles. This one is a little bit fatter than the orange. You know what, actually let me make these shorter because they're gonna get lengthened out anyway. That's better. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect, Mel. Just get it done. Okay, and then I want them about the same length. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna turn these into a triangle. So I'm gonna put my fingers together like this, form a triangle, and push down. Go back and forth. This doesn't have to be a perfect triangle. Now, because of my nails, I think it's a little bit easier for me to do it this way, like with this part of my finger and this part of my thumb. Try it that way. Yeah, that's working better for me. Rotate it. Go again. See, this is why I was saying it would get longer. Again, this doesn't have to be like a perfect triangle, but I am gonna flip it over and use, you know, go back and forth using different hands to try to get it somewhat even. Okay, that's a pretty good triangle. Don't have to cut the end off, I just want to be able to show you the shape. Got a triangle there. You know, it might work to do this with the extruder too, but this is easy enough to just do by hand. I think it would be more trouble to get out the extruder and clean it and load it than it would be to just form them by hand, since this is not something that has to be perfect. Matter of fact, it's probably better if it's not, because this is going to be organic. Just moving along. Okay, that should be good enough. Now I want, again, let me cut that off so you can see a little better. Kind of like the way we would do with a teardrop blend if we were making a color blend. I want one up, and let's see, These aren't perfect, but that's okay. One up, one down. Okay. Now, let's see, what do I do now? It's been a while since I've done this. Yeah, one up, one down. And then we're going to form it into a square this way. Okay. So I'm just going to shift this. And form it into a square. I'm not looking for perfection here. Just want to get it done. Okay. Now, cut it in half. Do it again. I really hope I'm doing this right. It's been a long time since I've made this cane. It's a very, very simple cane. It's just been a while. I don't make canes very often. They are definitely not my forte. But it's also something I'm just not that interested in myself. Something simple like this I'm good with, but like, you know, really complex canes I'm not a fan of. Nope. Now how do I want that? I don't want them together like that. But if I move it that way, it's going to be... You know what? And if I do it that... Okay, it really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But what I was saying is, like, a lot of canes are like really complex, very busy patterns, which I'm not a fan of. But, you know, I mean, we all have things that we like better than others, and canes are just not, you know, my favorite thing. Now, simple canes like this, I don't mind making, and I do like to use them, especially like for flowers and things like that. But say like a kaleidoscope cane or something like that, it's just not my deal. But how boring would life and clay art be if we all only made the same things? You know? Now, how many times you want to cut and put this back together is entirely up to you. Depends on how fine you want your pattern. I want mine pretty fine, so I'm gonna keep going quite a few times. I would say I would count and tell you how many times, but I don't even know how many times I've cut it and put it back together already. So yeah, won't be able to tell you that. Okay, I'm going to keep working on this for a minute and then we'll move on to something else. To be quite honest, I think I went a little bit too far, but it's okay. I mean, yeah, I would have preferred if I had not went that far where you could see the lines a little bit better, but it's all good. There's a couple things I can do from here. I can shape this into a petal and use it just as a petal cane, which I'm going to do as part of it. There was something else I wanted to do. Oh, I know. I'm going to take about 2/3 or 3/4 of this and shape it into a petal cane, which all I have to do is pinch this end. So the orange will be the center. Now, these are teeny tiny canes, but like I said, I only need just a little bit, so I don't mind that they're tiny. I'm going to round these corners out just a little bit, but it's not that important at this point because I can shape them once I cut the petals off. Okay, so there's one petal cane, orange in the center. I'm going to make this one with the yellow in the center. Exact same thing. Just pinch the yellow in together into kind of a teardrop shape. Now when you do this, when you pinch this part is gonna take on that shape, so just pull it this way just a little bit. Okay, and then round out my corners. But again, I can do that once I cut slices of the petals off. Okay, so I've got 2 petal canes. With this one, I'm going to make another petal cane. I think this one, I'm going to make the orange in the center. Now this one, it doesn't matter so much about the corners up here. It's more about this down here. Pull that out. This may be too small to do what I had intended, but we'll see. It's a mighty tiny piece, but it might still work. Okay, going to cut this in probably 6 pieces. Yeah, this is going to be really small. I don't know if I can reduce it with it being this small. Again, I'm not a very good cane maker, so then I just want to put these together, kind of making a flower out of it. Actually, you know what, I'm going to put a different color in between these. What color? How about this green? That would be pretty. Let's do that. I'm going to run this out on the pasta machine. Run it out on probably, I don't know. Let me see. I'm not sure how thick I want it. I went with a number 6. 0 is the thickest on my machine and 9 is the thinnest. So I went with a 6. Now I am not, again, I never claimed to be like a fabulous cane maker, but I'm going to cut this to help find out where you can see. I'm going to cut this the same, you know what I mean, the width of this. And then I have to decide, do I want it all the way up, halfway? What do we want to do here? I think I'm going to go with all the way. But if I do this on each one, it's going to be doubled, if that makes sense. So I did it on that side, and then I'm going to go ahead and add that one on. Then add a strip on this side. Yeah, this is going to be so tiny. I don't know if I'll be able to reduce this, but we'll see. May not have to reduce it. I may just leave it as it is, you know. Alright, so add another piece. This one, I'm going to turn that way, which I don't think it's really going to matter in the end. But yeah, you really don't want to take cane lessons from me here, but you know, figure out I would bring you along for the ride. But yeah, I'm probably not the person to learn canes from, but that's okay. Most of you are probably better at canes than I am. And that's okay too. That just means yours will look a whole lot better than mine, right? This is starting to look like like a lime, or just in the wrong color, but the shape is starting to look like a lemon or lime or something. Okay, let's put, I wasn't gonna put a center, but I think I will in a different color. What color do I want to do that in? I guess I could just do yellow. Don't really see any other colors here that I would like to use for that. So I'm just gonna stick that little piece of yellow in there. Now, because my little petals were not at the right angle, they're not exactly fitting together, but that's okay. I'm gonna make them fit together. And this little cane may be a complete disaster, but if it is, it's okay. At least you will have learned what not to do. So I'm gonna try to reduce this a bit. I'm gonna start out with it in my fingers. And then I'm gonna have to press it flat, because the center of this is gonna wanna shrink in like really bad. So I'm gonna kind of press that to the table and then start reducing it to help with the shrinkage. So I don't want the center to like completely disappear. Oh gosh, this thing is gonna be so ugly. I probably am not going to use this. It may look better than I think once I cut it, but I kind of have my doubts. It would have done better had I had more clay. I could have done these smaller and kept more of this to do this with. But, you know, at least I tried, right? Like I said, at least you'll know what not to do. Learn from my mistakes. The stretch of this is going to be teeny, teeny, tiny. Now see, the distortion is going to be all the way up to here. So I'm going to cut it there, even though some of that might still be usable. And let's see. I mean, yeah, that's ugly. It's so tiny you can't see any of the details. But, I mean, I could make it a little bit bigger. Let's see. I don't know. I might could use this for some tiny little accent flowers or something. We'll see. Probably not though, because it's it looks pretty bad. And these, yeah, for what I would use something this small for, I can use that probably. I decided to show you how to do another type of petal cane. It will come out very similar to this one, but it's going to have more colors, and the colors will be a bit more blended. It's just kind of a different way to get pretty close to the same effect. And this time I'm not going to cut and, what am I trying to say? I'm not going to cut it down as many times to where the lines are not so fine. I'm going to try to keep it where you can actually see this one. Okay, so I'm going to start out with just making a color blend. And then I'm going to do a bullseye cane once I make my color blend. Okay, so I'm going to go off camera and get that done. I just made my color blend and rolled up my Skinner Blend Bullseye. For this I used turquoise, cobalt, wisteria and fuchsia. The wisteria kind of got lost, but it's okay. Making sure I get the air bubbles out, or trying to anyway. Now this, I want it short and fat. I'm gonna squish it down. I did not cut my blend in half and do this time, because the finished product, I don't think it'll make a difference, because once I get it to, I can do it like I did this one. Like once I get to that point, I can change the direction of the shape, which I think would accomplish the same thing if I had made 2 blends. And if it doesn't, then it just doesn't, but I'm not gonna worry about it. I just felt like it was extra work to make 2 of them. Okay, now that I got this kind of short and fat, I think I will, don't know if this is necessary, but I'm gonna cut off the ends. If nothing else, I can see better what I'm doing. Okay. Oh, that's pretty. Oh, and I also kept a piece of the blend like this, like I did with the pink ones. Make sure this is nice and straight and even. And get a better blade. Now these excuse me, technical difficulties. Okay, so yeah, that was all of my sculpting tools, dotting tools, all that good stuff. All wound up in the floor, and of course it was in a place that's really hard to reach. Anyway, back to our regularly scheduled program. Now, I'm going to take this, now that I have a nice sharp blade, I have a short blade. I think it's easier to control than a long one. I'm going to put my fingers close together, and I'm going to slice down through the center. Have I not got that on there? Yeah. I thought this was a sharp blade. It's a new one. That didn't work so well, did it? Okay. I'm going to flip it over to the other side before I cut again. And I didn't get it quite in the middle because I'm not right up over it. But, you know, if you're doing this at home, you're going to have your head right over it so you can see better what you're doing. This time, I'm going to try the seesaw motion instead of just going straight down. There we go. Now, I think you can stop here at 4, or you can do it like in 8s, but I'm going to stop at 4. And then this one, I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to cut in half. I think that's what I have to do. Let me see. Alright, what I'm going to do is put, again, as if we were doing a triangle color blend, I'm going to put 1 point at the bottom, 1 point at the top, this point at the top, and then, yeah, I'm going to have to cut this one in half, down the center, and then I'm going to put, is that right? That's not right. Yeah, that's right. Okay. 1 on each side. Good grief. I'm the one supposed to be teaching you, and I'm asking you if I'm doing it right. Oh. We are on this journey together. Okay. I've got all of those set up like that. Top, bottom, top, bottom. I'm going to squish it together and make it into a square. This time I'm going to use my roller just a little bit. Once I get it down a little bit further, I will use the acrylic block to help me out some too. It's easy for this to be in a rectangle because you started out in a rectangle. So in order to get it square, you're going to need to put more pressure on these sides here. than on the top and the bottom. So see how that's a square now? It's not all the way through, but where's my acrylic block? Here it is. Cat hair. There's always something around here, y'all. Always. Okay, now I'm going to cut in half. Now I'm going to put my cut sides together on this way and leave these ends on one side so that the distortion won't be quite as bad on both ends. Here comes the train, sorry. Okay, again, I'm gonna put more pressure on the sides than the top and the bottom because it started out a rectangle and I want it in a square. See, it's still a little bit rectangular, which it's not that important at this point. I mean, I'm just saying that's what you gotta do to get it into a square. I think I'm gonna go one more time, or should I leave it? Because once this gets smaller, I don't want it to be too blurry. Like, I don't want to take it too far like I did these. So I think I'm gonna, should I? I'm gonna go once more. Hopefully it's not too much. But I want to make sure I go far enough, because if I don't go far enough, it's, you know, the little lines are going to be pretty harsh. And I don't want them too harsh. Once again, I'm not going to make this into a full flower cane. I'm going to leave it as a petal. It's still a little too hard on the side. It's a bit rectangular. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down. And to reduce a square instead of, let's see, I could go ahead and make this into a round just to reduce it. But I did a round the other time, so I'm going to show you how to reduce a square. I think I did a round in the other one. I'm just going to go like this. No, I did the other one this way. One side to the other. See, this is the side where I put the distorted ends together, so I'm going to have more distortion on this side than this one. But that's okay. For what this is, it's probably not going to make much of a difference anyway. Okay, this is going to take a minute. I've got this reduced down to where I want it, but I did mess up. I was saying that this would be basically the same as this, but no, it's not. Now, if you wanted to do this, but do more colors, you could. Just use your triangles and go up, down, up, down. Now, this, I'm going to cut it and I'll show you. It comes out different because it comes out in a zigzag pattern instead of just one color on each end. So when I said that it would come out the same, I could just swap it up like I did this when I shape it. That's not true. If I had did my color blend with the pink on the inside, then see, the pink would be running through here and the blue would be on the ends. And this, instead of having one color on the ends and one in the center, you have the same color on the top and the bottom. Okay, so I'm gonna shape this into a petal, and then this one will be good to go. And I kind of went a little far with the reduction too. I wish I had not gotten it so small, but hey, like I said, I'm not much of a cane maker, so it's hard for me to judge, like with the cutting it up and putting it back together, you know, I didn't know exactly how many times to do it. But all of that stuff comes with experience, and the more you make canes, the more that stuff is going to be a bit more intuitive than it is for me. So now I have a whole lot of this, and I probably won't ever use all that, but that's okay. And if you make, okay, I'm going to have a bunch of these things because I still want to make some more color blends. Probably most of them will just be bullseye canes, but I may make some more petal canes like this. I probably won't do any more like this. I wasn't a big fan of that, but I have a lot more color combinations that I would like to do. And if they're really, really tiny, they're kind of hard to do. Do I need that many? Probably not. Will I use them all? Maybe, maybe not. But whatever I don't use, I can store for later. Just like these, I can, if they're in sheets, I can wrap them up, save them. If they're not, I will store it like this, roll it up, and just store it as a cane. Okay? And then I can always use them for something else down the road. I'm going to make some more canes, some more color blends, and I will come back and show you what I came up with when I get done. Okay? Now I've got all of my blends and my canes and all of that finished. Took me about an hour or so. I did not use all of those colors, although I can incorporate those in my designs later if I want to. I'm trying to move everything and show you what I got here. Now some of these, you know, came out of my stash. I already had them, and I just kind of revived them. And some of them I made fresh. Okay, so there's my color blends, and then I will show you my canes. Here is all of my Skinner Blend bullseyes. I said it again. Skinner Blend bullseye canes. How about that? That's better than bullseyes. Okay, these four are just single canes. That's the only way I made those. This is one I had left over in my stash. The others are opposites. They're made to use the same colors and just split them like I showed you, and got 2 bullseyes out of it. 2 bullseye canes out of I'm sorry. Now that I've somewhat composed myself. Okay, these 2 were set. That's another single one, a red and black. Okay, so that's all of the Skinner Blend bullseye canes. Got it right that time. Okay, this is the one that we made together, that I wasn't real crazy about, and I said, I just told you all wrong on this. I said if I had made it like this, then I would have one color on one side and one on the other. Well, that's not true. This only works this way if you have 2 colors, I think. Again, y'all, I am not like a cane expert, but I think this will only work like this if you have 2 colors, because I did it same thing as I did here but I had like 4 colors here, and it just it did not come out like I thought it would. It didn't come out like this. And once again, I went a little too far and made the pattern got a bit muddy, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Then I also did that same cane with a pink and a blue, and of course the orange and yellow that we did to start with. So that's all of my canes, and now I am ready for step 3, and I hope you will come join me again for the next video. We got part 3 coming up. If you missed part 1, you can go watch it here. And I hope you will come back for part 3. See you then. Thank you so much for watching. And don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Okay, thanks. Bye.